What's up, everybody? This is the Sports League Podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got John Abraham, the 15-year NFL defensive end, five-time Pro Bowler. Abe, great to have you back on as always.
Always, man. I'm glad you made it through the 4th of July, man. They was popping so many firecrackers over here, man. I thought something was going wrong in Atlanta. Good to see you, man. Like I said, can't wait to get the third A back. And I know it's the countdown. It's almost time for her to be shaking it in. I know she's gonna have a lot of good info when she comes back, and we'll definitely we get her back, we'll definitely start really getting back into football. And it's next month, dude. It's next month.
Yeah.
Next month.
Yeah, we got a football game this July 31st, I believe, the Hall of Fame game. The Chargers report to training camp in less than 2 weeks. It's right around the corner. I'm so hyped. And yeah, I hope you had a good 4th of July. I'm sunburnt like crazy, but I had a lot of good food. I went swimming, hang out with the family. How about you? Do you have a good 4th?
I didn't do much, man. I just relaxed. Being in Atlanta, I think I went and got something good to eat, but I didn't want to be out and about like that. But I literally just sat in my condo, which I'm on the 23rd floor, and just watched. I literally just watched all the fireworks in the background, like just pow, 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 pow. And I
Yeah.
chilled, didn't get in no trouble, didn't bother anybody. The family had a good time. I called everybody, made sure they were good. But I just took a relaxed day, man, because running around so much, sometimes you don't get a chance to relax. So when everybody was partying, I said, "Hey, it's my time to, chill and relax." So that's what I did, man.
Yeah, that's what's up. Um, so this is our 2025 AFC West preview, and this is a very competitive division. I can't wait to get into this and talk these teams. And we'll see if the Chiefs can win another division title. They're trying to go for 10 straight, which is incredible.
Yeah, yeah. I think the biggest thing about this season is I got to realize that the Chargers are AFC team. I think we were talking earlier, and I don't see how I messed up. And I'm sitting here looking at it, my whole time my mind was saying Rams. It was like Los Angeles. I said the Chargers are not in the. I'm like, dude, I'm sitting here like you're like Johnny. Yeah, they are. So my big thing this year is make sure I remember who's in the AFC and who's in the NFC. It's the Chargers, not the Rams. It's the Rams. So I was kind of lost just now, but this is going to be an exciting year. I think the biggest thing is with me personally, Kansas City, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Broncos. I think it's going to be probably the best we've seen the West in a long time. And I'm not saying that because of, I have like this think that they're going to be the best in the league right now, but I just feel like that lost Kansas City in the Super Bowl gave everyone kind of like hope that, oh, yo, we can beat them because they played
Yeah.
well. Even when you saw the game, they played well, but they should have lost a few of those games, last year. And so watching it in that Super Bowl, it was just like, what the heck? Are
Yeah.
they done now? Like the Super Bowl just made it seem like they just went down really fast. I don't know how it's going to be this year, but that did not look good.
Well, yeah, and to your point, they should have lost or could have lost multiple regular season games. Their 15-2 record wasn't really, indicative of how good they were. But me personally, I'm just glad they didn't three-peat. That's the last thing I wanted to see was the Chiefs three-peat, and it was so enjoyable for me to see the Eagles come in and just obliterate them, kick their ass. The Cooper DeJean pick six and all that stuff. It was a lot of fun, and I think this division is going to be a lot more competitive with the Chargers and Broncos on the way up, and they're trying to catch the Chiefs, and they might do it this year.
Right, right, right. Well, let's get into it, man. I'm gonna take lead this week, man. I know you've been doing your thing, and I've been kind of running around. I've been relaxing, but I also, I got some other stuff going on, man. I'm trying to do all this kind of weird stuff going on. I just finished my last class, what I was telling you about earlier. But
Oh yeah,
I guess we're gonna. I kind of don't want to start with Kansas City because I think that's the team that everybody wants to talk about. So I'm gonna start with the Chargers, man. Coming off the 11-6 season, 2024. In the wild card round, Jim Harbaugh came and just totally, I think, took the team and made a quarterback that could have been a down year if he didn't improve this year. And I think he did an amazing job, just getting them into the playoffs. And I guess now having Harris, Najee, which I've never been big on him, but I think that at this point it is time for him to kind of show that he's a great back. In Pittsburgh, he can say whatever happened now. And, even getting McConkley, so they got the pieces. So how do you feel? What change in the leadership helped the Chargers return to the playoffs in 2024? And what do you think in 2025 will be that niche that they need to take them past that?
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm a huge Jim Harbaugh supporter. Everywhere he's been, he's turned that team into a winner. And I thought he did a great job in year one last year of taking a team that really didn't have many weapons, didn't really have many receivers. Running game was inconsistent, some injuries, stuff like that. So I thought they overachieved last year. And I love the addition of Najee Harris. I think he's gone for over 1,000 yards every season. He's been pretty healthy, barely, but
he's every year. He's every year.
Omarion Hampton is a great pick for them, and he's probably going to end up being the number one back. And they kind of stole him from Denver. I had mocked Omarion Hampton to the Broncos in pretty much all my mocks, and they passed on him to take Jahdae Barron, and Omarion Hampton falls to the Chargers. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to run the ball a lot this year to try to take the pressure off of Justin Herbert. And we'll see if they also drafted some receivers, Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith, who Lambert-Smith played for South Carolina, right?
Yeah. So you're thinking, okay, so they're helping Justin Herbert, as you obviously feel. I feel like they're going to help him more than anything. I've seen a stat on like him against winning team is not very good. But I think if this is his year to take them to the lead of the AFC. I'm just saying, is this the year for them to do it? I think there's going to be a big downfall from Kansas City. I still think they're going to be a good team, but I think that they're a little bit, I guess, what we call it, a little hungover. I think they're going to have a hangover. I think we've seen the quarterback and we've seen the tight end of the best team ever, supposed to have been three-peat, but we haven't seen them really working out this offseason. We've seen them doing so much stuff. We've seen them enjoying life. We've seen the quarterback getting a new haircut. We've seen boy out with his girlfriend doing the tight end, doing all this stuff, but we haven't seen them really do anything as a team. And that's the kind of thing that after a Super Bowl loss, sometimes you can kind of feel like, okay, we good. We got two already, da-da-da-da. Now, is it time? Are they going to is it Herbert time? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm running around the question, but I'm saying, do you think it's Herbert time? Is it Herbert time?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is the year that the Chiefs get dethroned. I think someone else wins the division, and to me, it's between the Chargers and Broncos. And I think both of those teams are vastly improved. So they're both better, and the Chiefs might take a little bit of a step back. We'll see with Kansas City. But the Chargers, yes, I have a lot of faith in them. Most importantly, with Jim Harbaugh, I trust Justin Herbert. The running backs come in are going to help. The receivers, a good young receiving core. So I think the Chargers are going to be much improved. I like that they brought back the veteran Mike Williams. He can, if he stays healthy, he's got chemistry with Herbert already. And then how about they took that guard from Philadelphia, Mekhi Becton, who came in the league supposed to be one of the best tackles, but he's found success at guard. And I think that is really going to help the Chargers plugging him in. And he comes from Philly where they just won the Super Bowl,
Yeah, do whatever you got to do to stay on the field. That's football, man. That's one thing I can say. Watching him, be with the Jets and coming and going to Philly and becoming a good player, and also finding a place that you can fit. Having injuries and stuff, sometimes you're not as mobile, and sometimes you're not as confident in yourself. So being able to move as a guard and having the help on both sides with a center and a tackle, you can just kick butt. You know what I mean? You can just really put your big weight on people. So I think that was a good thing also. I'm not a big Sean Payton guy because, I played for Atlanta and, the New Orleans thing. What do you think what do you think he's going to do this year? I'm not really big on him yet. I understand they have a great quarterback. I understand they have a great defense. Well, at least a great defensive player. But this team doesn't really do it for me. Bo Nix is going to be good, but I don't think I think the two quarterbacks we just talked about are going to be better than him this year. That's just my personal feeling right now. So, well, who is the starting quarterback you think, and who is expected? What do you expect in the second year? What major defense additions did the Broncos make in free agency to boost their playoff chances, and which new weapons were added to the Broncos offense to help Bo Nix if he's the guy this year? What are they? I hope I didn't overload you with questions, but dang it, I want to know, and I want to get this over with quick because I'm not a Sean Payton fan, and you can touch on this as much or little as you want.
Well, you've got to admit, and I understand completely, Sean Payton's kind of a hard guy to like. You know, he's kind of cocky and arrogant a little bit, but he's a winner. I mean,
Right.
he was a winner with the Saints his entire time there, and I think he's already turning the Broncos around. Bo Nix, I was not high on Bo Nix coming into the NFL, but as a rookie, he impressed me. I thought he overachieved with not a lot of weapons around him. So I think Bo Nix is going to have a good year. I love their additions in free agency. They bring in tight end Evan Ingram, who I've always been a big fan of. They bring in J.K. Dobbins, and then they draft running back R.J. Harvey and wide receiver Pat Bryant. So that's 4 new weapons offensively right there that I think are going to help. And he's already, been developing chemistry with Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, Vele. So I think the Broncos are going to be good. As big of a Chargers fan as I am, Denver's going to be right there in my opinion. And I think there's a chance that 3 teams from this division all make the playoffs. And then it'll be who does what in the playoffs, right? If you go out right away, then who cares? But maybe one of these teams can go on a deep playoff run.
I think R.J. Harvey might be a sneak.
Yeah.
We got J.K. and R.J. What the heck? I'm not. Rooms of running backs, it's going to be a weird room. But I definitely think the running back is going to be. If you think about Denver from back in the day, they always had going back to Terrell Davis. In order for them to be a good solidified team, they had a good running game, and I think that would open it up for Knicks. And so hopefully your guy Sean Payton, even when New Orleans. No matter how good Drew Brees was, they already had a certain back in the backfield that could, a little pressure off the quarterback. So I definitely think that addition will definitely help. Tight end, going back to New Orleans, they always had a great tight end, to kind of, blanket the quarterback. So I think all the stuff you said hit it dead on the head. We got to shout out Pat Surtain Jr. Going to be the guy. He's going to be a leader. He's not like a loud spoken guy, but when he plays, he plays. And even adding Greenlaw, right?
Yeah.
Things like this, I think, is definitely going to give it a more seniority. They're not a young team no more. Even though they have a young quarterback, they're not a young team. They got some older guys on there now. Even having J.K. teaching on R.J., it's just certain things that you like to put together with a team. Joe Lombardi, I know him very well. He's going to be very good for them. He should fit in perfect, but I hope, and I'm not just saying this, not because Sean Payton, I hope they do evolve around a running team, because I kind of missed that. Like back in the day when they had, just great running backs, so hopefully they can build from that and then, throw Bo in, make him look good around them.
Yes, I agree 100%. He's still young. He's still developing. You don't want to put too much on his plate yet. And then how do you beat a team like the Chiefs? With your running game and ball control, time of possession, keep Mahomes on the sideline. So right. I love that identity that the Chargers and Broncos are both building around the running game. If I was Denver, I would have taken Omarion Hampton over, in the first round instead of waiting and taking R.J. Harvey. But maybe Sean Payton knows something that I don't. And they got a great pick in the first round, Jahdae Barron, the corner. And you add him to Patrick Surtain, that's a hell of a corner duo right there. Right. I think that defense is only going to get better. Dre Greenlaw, like you mentioned, Talanoa Hufanga comes over from the 49ers. He's like, he gives me Palomalu vibes. He's not quite Troy Polamalu, but when he's healthy and on the field, he's a playmaker, So I like what Denver's doing a lot.
Yes. Okay. That's enough talking about Sean Payton. All right. All right, so the Raiders, as they say, the Raiders. Okay, new head coach, new GM, new quarterback, new running back. Got a new attitude. Well,
Yeah,
they bring back two of their greatest players right now. With I guess with Brock and with the big money man. I can't even. I don't want to say his name. He got paid so well, man. I hate it. Right now, man, these guys are getting paid so nicely, man. I'm like, dude, I want to go back for just 1 year and just play and get me like $1 million deal for 1 year, man. They paying these DNs like they're supposed to get paid, and I love
yeah,
it, stuff like that, man. But so with everyone's Raiders, I think everyone loves the Raiders, even though they hate the Raiders. You love to see the Raiders because I want to see that old Raiders tradition of the nasty Raiders. Even
yeah,
though Pete Carroll has that Legion of Doom. You think about that defense. You think about stuff that he had and he brought to Seattle. Is he going to bring that same energy? Is he going to bring that same focus? Is he going to bring that attitude? Geno Smith he played well in Seattle, and he's definitely changed his career. He's done it, but is he going to have that Raider energy? Is this team going to be one of those teams that we want to watch again? Is it going to be this way with the guys they brought in and also with the coach? I mean, the coach is a pretty laid back guy going right back to USC, then being in Seattle and playing. I mean, just having that team the defense looking incredible. And even like you see his players that were at USC. Is he going to be able to transform this Raiders into a team that we want to watch?
Yeah, I really do. I think that was a great hire. And real quick, let's look at the coaching staff, the head coaches in this division. Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton, and Pete Carroll. That might be the best coached division in all of football.
Hall of Fame. But, Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I love to see it. But yeah, I think the Raiders are going to be much improved. I think they're building. I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team year, in 2025, but they're building towards the future. I've never been a big Chip Kelly guy, but that's as head coach. As offensive coordinator, I think that he could have success, and that could be his role in the NFL,
Yeah.
And then Ashton Genty. I mean, how can he go wrong with that? I was hoping, I had fingers crossed that he would fall to my Bears. The Raiders weren't going to let that happen. And that's a home run pick. I don't see how Genty isn't, a beast immediately and in the conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's that good, in my opinion.
Right. I think it's definitely going to be I'm not sure he's beast mode, but I think he has the utilities to go better downhill. He's a small ball type guy, and I think the offense is definitely going to have to run through him. I think Geno is going to have a decent year. I think he probably was better in Seattle. He has a whole new squad. I think they shouldn't go too far away from Brock Bowers. I think it still should be generated through Brock Bowers. Not saying that but think about the run to play action should work perfect now, because I guess you can fake the run now and get a nice quick pass out there, because people are going to be scared of Genty. People are going to be thinking about Genty, and also Genty should be able to run. If you see Bowers going a straight fly route straight down the field, and then they just run it, because I don't really see the draw play run at all anymore. But that draw play now, I think because he's staying like this anyway. So the draw play should be perfect in these scenarios, and I think that play has really not been used a lot lately. But I think in this offense, I can see that working, especially with I guess with the downfield threats they have now.
Yeah, Bowers and Genty complement each other really well. The defense is going to want to focus on Bowers and take him out of the game, but Genty you have to load the box to stop Genty. You know what I mean? Because whether he has immediate success or not, it's going to take 2-3 guys to take him down. Like we saw against Penn State in the playoffs. So, it's going to be interesting. I think they're going to be much improved. Last year they were lacking in talent like crazy. And then also they drafted 2 wide receivers, Jack Besh and Dante Thornton Jr., and I think both these guys are good players. I think Jack Besh is going to get a lot of targets, and we'll see about Thornton being a 4th-round pick, but I think that he can get in there and have some impact as well. I like Jack Besh, and I don't know if you saw any of the Senior Bowl, but Jack Besh was the MVP of that game, caught the game winner. He might be a guy.
Good, good, good. All right, quick question. I noticed we haven't talked about Kansas City yet. So rank the three teams that we've talked about now, because I'm not sure if Kansas City going to be on number one this year. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. So rank the teams right now from Vegas, Broncos, and the Chargers. How do you think they rank right now? Let's say if just taking out Kansas City, we're talking about how would they fall right now in the play? Like if we talking about make it to the playoff 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I think Chargers and Broncos to me are dead even. I think they're going to be, they might finish with the same record. I think they're both playoff teams, and I think they're, dead even. And then the Raiders are probably going to be fourth in the division. And that's not to say that they're not a good team. They're going to be much improved from last year. I just don't think they're in a tough division. It's going to be hard to get wins against those three. And I think they're a 8-win team at most. They're probably going to have a losing record, 7, 8 wins, and continue building for the future. I think they're a year or two away from making the playoffs and being a real threat. But the Broncos and Chargers are coming for that number one spot, and we'll see if either team can get it done.
Okay, I got to check the Raiders' schedule. I think they're going to surprise a couple of teams. I think they're going to win more probably on the road than at home. I think at home they're going to be a little too more comfortable, and I think at home they might get beat more than they will on the road. I think on the road they're going to surprise people with their defense and their offense. For their offensive packages, but I think at home they might not be as good of a team. Just because being in Vegas is always just make me feel like you're doing too much. So let's go to the last.
Real quick, I gotta shout out this guy. I don't know if you saw, JJ Pegues. The Raiders drafted him out of Ole Miss, a defensive tackle in the 6th round. This dude might be a lot of fun to watch, and I can only imagine what Chip Kelly is gonna have him doing with Ashton Genty. But this dude's a defensive tackle that was running the Wildcat quarterback option at Ole Miss. He was, he's a goal line running the ball, and he can actually throw the ball too. I think he threw a touchdown or two. It'll be very interesting if the Raiders try to use this guy, a 300-pound, Wildcat quarterback. How about that?
I can't see Pete Carroll not trying to. If he makes the team, I can't see Pete Carroll not using him in some kind of. They've always been inventive. They've always done, stuff that's a little different. And I think he's at the point in his career. He likes to be exciting. He likes to show people and give people opportunities to make big plays, no matter who you are. And I still think they have a lot to prove. And I think I don't want to say rebuilding because they have pieces. But like I said, I think it's going to be tough for them to win at home because I think people don't come in the Raiders with fear like they used to. Like back in the day, like I remember going into the Raiders, it was just like, man, I don't want to. It's just so much other stuff in Vegas that people still love the game, but it's like people are watching that in the casino. So people don't want to go.
Oakland had a different feel.
Yeah. So let's drag it out with the. Okay, first of all, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be the same team this year. I just really feel like Kansas City is going to drop off this year, and I think it's I think when you have so much time to always be defending yourself, you're always defending yourself. You're always defending yourself. Even in a bad year, like the number of wins last year did not show how good or bad this team was because they were not a great team. I mean, coming through injuries, O-line problems, and it was just showed so well how terrible it was in the Super Bowl. I mean, no matter what went on during the year, a field goal here was missed or a field goal here was made. We got a totally different record. Their record could have easily been 10-7, and they could have been easily tied with the Chargers. They could have had a record like the Chargers or something like that. So, what do they need, I guess, to make people feel more confident? We're going to touch on some other stuff also, but me personally, I'm asking you, what do they need? Because last year, I was all into Kansas City. I was like, they're going to be the team. They're going to be the team. Like the whole time, I was like, I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I think they're going to win it. this year I don't have any of that. Honestly, when I saw in the suit, I think because people watch tape. And I think they may go. This might be their spiral down for a little while. Because think about it, this guy ain't even 30 years old, really. And so I think when he gets back to about 34, 35, it's going to be like, oh, he's back at it. Whole new face of players, O-line different. So I'm not saying they're rebuilding, but I think it's to the point now that they got to rest. Like literally, they just really got to rest a little while and then put some other players around Chris Jones, get some other players, so-and-so is going to be, Travis Kelce's going to be gone, it's going to have new faces, new receivers, Worthy's going to finally, become a good player, and the O-line is going to be different, and they're going to have a legitimate running back. I think in order to win now, it might have to change from what they're used to. Nobody's scared of his little no-look passes and all that other stuff now. We've seen it all. So, I don't know how much else you can bring out besides getting a better O-line and getting a real running back. I'm not knocking, oh boy, I love Isaiah, but it's like a real running back. Somebody, he runs hard and this, but you think about they had Jinty in there or something. Think about they put think about these other running backs like that, and they can run the ball and then just have the different things. So I think that it's going to have to change eventually, but I think it's going to take a couple of years. But I think they're going to kind of slow down for a couple of years and jump back up maybe later on in his career. But okay. All right. I'm just talking about
no, I mean, imagine the Chiefs. How difficult would it be to defend Kansas City if they had a running back like a Saquon Barkley or a Derrick Henry or even a Josh Jacobs? Just pay some money, bring in a true number one back, and take some pressure off of Mahomes, right?
Exactly. And that's what I think is going to be needed. I think it's going to have to do more than just trying to always put it in his hand, always look. Because think about it, Travis Kelce's probably not going to be there. So, that's his guy. And I'm not saying he can't. He's still maturing. That's what's crazy. People don't understand. He's a great quarterback, but he's still maturing. You know what I mean? Think about when he gets like hit 33 or 34. Like the passes that, like we're gonna see like different how he ain't doing all the other stuff. He just focusing in and really just dropping it off, doing this, and by then his line is gonna mature. Because think about it, his contract will be pretty much over. Then he'll sign a new one. Then they can like take some other money to just start putting pieces around him, and it's gonna be amazing. So right now, I think we're just seeing the smallest part of this guy because when he really mature, he got his family, everybody done growing and all this stuff. His brothers, he started worrying about his brother, started worrying about his dad and all this stuff. And he just like really clear everything out.
Yeah.
Like, you get into the Peyton Manning, the Tom Brady, like really they mode. And I'm not doing all this other stuff until I'm done playing now. Because doing all this stuff, doing it, but like you didn't really see Tom, you didn't see PC. Like now, like even with Drew Brees, you didn't really see him doing all. You might see him do a commercial here and there. You ain't really seen a lot of laughing. They won one Super Bowl. They came right back and went right back to other stuff. It wasn't doing all this extracurricular stuff. So I think when he get in that mode, and it's just like I'm football again. You know what I mean? Like it's like 3 years I haven't been to a Super Bowl. Okay, it's time for us to get back right. And I think that's what it's going to take for them to get back into the Super Bowl. I'm not saying it won't happen this year, but I can't see it this year. I think other teams are maturing. Other teams are getting better around them. People are seeing it like it. They're not surprising. It's only so much film you can watch. It's only so many trick plays you can do. We know all your players now. Y'all major players, we know now. Nobody's scared of Juju Smith. I'm sorry. Nobody's gonna be like, oh God, Juju Smith, oh Sky Moore, oh my God. Xavier Worthy, yes. And I think Xavier Worthy, I don't think he's a true number one yet. He might not be. And when they start really trying to find stuff like this, I think that's when it's going to start building again. But I'm sorry for taking away from you. So
no, you're 100% on all that. And it's going to be interesting. And I think, it's tough. No one's ever three-peated, right? And so that's going to wear on a team. All those deep playoff runs and those high expectations, and just the Chiefs had this feeling of invincibility last year. Like no matter what happened, they were going to find a way to win. And so that Super Bowl loss was a blowout, and that really brought them back down to earth. But we've seen this now twice, where the Chiefs, if their offensive line isn't doing its job, they get to a Super Bowl, they'll get the doors blown off of them by Tampa Bay and then by Philly. So they have to fix that offensive line. That's priority number one. And so they did bring in Jalen Moore, and they drafted Josh Simmons. And to me, Josh Simmons, who's coming off an injury, but they were saying when healthy, he might be the best tackle in the draft. So they got a good value for him at 31 overall. If you're a Chiefs fan, you want him to start week 1, and you want him to be the guy going forward. That Kingsley, I don't know how to say his last name, Sama Tuiai or something. They're going to move him over to guard, so maybe he'll be more effective at guard instead of tackle. We'll see if they can get this offensive line figured out, but that's the big question mark, as well as running back. I mean, Mahomes got sacked a career high 36 times last season, 11 times in the playoffs, and 6 times in the Super Bowl. You're not going to win with stats like that, so they have to get that figured out.
Yeah, definitely. So with the draft, I guess Josh Simmons and also, Jalen Moore, I think it might help. But we don't know they're rookies, and we always try to put so much on the rookies. But what about the quarterback, Christian Fulton and Noah Williams? Do you think that was a good pick? Or because, we talked about Chris Jones the other day, and we talked about how they were saying 5 sacks was great, but he got a lot of pressures. And I personally know having a good cornerbacks changes the number of sacks that you get. Pressures are great, but if you got good corners, your sack number is going up. People can say, "Oh, he's a great pass," but if you got great corners behind you, it changes the whole trajectory on how your season can go. So, with those young guys and the other cornerbacks they have now, do you think this defense can be a stout defense? Do you think this defense can be a championship? Even they weren't a championship defense against Philly. Philly literally, they defense turned into Kansas City defense 2 years ago or something. It was just ridiculous how they were coming out the ball, and there was a lot of young guys that were just flying around. They didn't care about who this was Mahomes. They didn't care who he was. They were just bringing it to him. So, do you think the Chiefs can have a defense this year that can at least hold them up against, a Vegas team that you said is going to try everything possible to be back in the row, a Broncos team that had Bo Nix and gave him everything possible, a Chargers team that has a guy that pretty much knows football like the back of his hand, and Jim Harbaugh. Is Kansas City going to be able to manage it? Is Andy Reid going to be able to do that? Are they going to be able to build this defense with every other team pretty much going to try to run through them? Like literally, like it's competition now. Like you said, you got 4 Hall of Fame head coaches going against each other. This is going to be some good football, and whoever plays well enough, whoever becomes the new giant or continues to be the giant, is going to be the team that we're probably going to see deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, and these coaches, we already talked about 4 Hall of Fame head coaches, and they know they've coached a lot of football. They know how to game plan against the Chiefs. The Broncos could have swept the Chiefs last year, if not for a blocked field goal at the end of regulation. The Chargers played them really well. The Raiders are much improved, like you said. The Chiefs defense, it's going to be good enough, in my opinion, to be very competitive. The offense, of course, is going to have to, do their part. The Chiefs are going to be in every game, in my opinion. As long as they fix the offensive line, they're going to be in games, but they need to get more pressure. George Karlaftis led the team with 8 sacks. Chris Jones only had 5 sacks, which was his lowest since his rookie year. They drafted Omar Norman-Law in the 2nd round, a defensive tackle. So hopefully their D-line improves. I'm not sold on the secondary additions of Christian Fulton and Noel Williams. Hopefully Noel Williams can be a guy. He's got some potential. I'm not sold on Christian Fulton. Ultimately, I trust Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator. He's been doing it at a high level forever. So I think he's going to do his part. They got good linebackers. So they're going to be competitive. But, yeah, this division is very tough, and so it's going to test them. They're not going 15-2. I think they're more like a 12-5 team, 11-6, 13. But it's going to be tough. The division's going to be very competitive this year. And with these Hall of Fame head coach matchups, it's going to be a lot of fun, like you said. I can't wait.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I can't see them making the mistakes they made last year and still being a Super Bowl team. Last year I felt like, because I even said it last year. Every time we talked about it, I said Kansas City is just a team. I don't know, like they keep winning. I just can't see them. I don't see that after the Super Bowl. If they come in with the same mentality they did last year, you know, we're just going to go. We're going to another Super Bowl. We got out to. We're going to three-peat. Three-peats out the door. So can they get that mentality back to just winning one? Like all the stuff is over with. You know, like kind of like we play certain sports. They be like the score is back 0-0. This is their halftime. Because I see them winning 2-3 more championships. Like I said, but maybe 2 or 3, 4 years from here. Like just when everything kind of settles down and Mahomes get to be a really mature guy, because like all the stuff he did, we don't understand. He was so young, just like with Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't win on back to back. You know, he took a couple years off, and then he won one. He took some terrible losses against New York, but then he came right back and did his thing. They had their 2 terrible losses. Give him a little time off, you know, give him like a year just to relax, you know, play well enough to still look good. And then you're going to see, once his friend leaves, retires, he has to really be a quarterback now. The fun might, I'm not saying he's still going to have fun, but I don't think we ever seen him serious yet. That's what's and not concerning in a bad way. It's concerning like he's going to get better. Like you understand, he's going to get better. He understands everything about football, but most of the stuff is just being an athlete. But when he just start like literally just start playing and sit in the pocket and just start handing it off and chill for a while, handing it off, chill for a while. Fourth quarter, they need him. He just come throw for like 300 yards in the second half because that's the kind of guy he's going to be. Like, and think about him with not even Jerry Judy. I don't want to give him Jerry Judy. Think about him with anyone. Just think about him with a Chase. Like think about him having that kind of guy. Think about him having a real receiver. And I'm not saying he doesn't have good receivers. I'm not saying Worthy cannot be that kind of guy. But we know he light in the ass. He not saying he runs out of bounds. He's just not like that guy to me. Like I'm not saying he can't. He's a definite gadget guy. He can get you like some nice plays and here and there. But think about it when they find a receiver that you're my number one, and like I have a deep threat. Think about, and I don't want to bring Tom Brady up too much, but think about when he had Randy Moss. Not saying they didn't win a championship, but think about the records they broke. And that's what Mahomes. You know, Mahomes can do that because he can throw the ball whatever. And think about if Kelsey was that kind of guy. If Kelsey was a fast guy and he could get down the field, that would have been Kelsey. But I mean, think about when he gets that 6'2" receiver that runs like a 4'3", and he's the main guy, and nobody like it's going to be ridiculous. We haven't seen that except with we've seen it with Ty Hill. We can't say we've seen it with Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill is a smaller guy. Think about when we get that bigger guy. You know what I mean? So we seen what he do with the receivers. So credit is like when he get that, it's going to be nice, bro.
Yeah, I agree 100%. They're kind of lacking in talent right now a little bit. They don't have a number one running back, really, in my opinion. They don't have a number one receiver. Travis Kelce is old. He's got a year left or so, you know what I mean? So even Tom Brady needed prime Gronkowski, you know what I mean, to win. Julian Edelman developed into a go-to guy for him. So you got to have the guys. You got to have the weapons. And they need to do some improving to get back to that level. I think they're going to be in the mix 100% to win another division title. But the Chargers are better. The Broncos are better. And that's just the division. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are hungry as hell. You know,
we ain't even talking about that.
Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Hey, right? We ain't even talking about how, like, and I'm just talking about that division. We're just talking about the division. The division is going to be tougher now because I don't think people understand. It's like when Mike Tyson lost his first fight, everybody thought he was invincible. I mean, he was invincible. Everybody was like, "Oh, I can beat him." Same thing with Roy Jones. When you watch Roy Jones, everybody didn't know Roy Jones had a glass jaw. But when we found out he had a glass jaw, it was like, "Oh my God, Roy Jones is not." And like I said, but then Tyson came back after that loss and this. So this is what I'm saying, like. That Super Bowl, like, it just showed me, like, they weren't the beast. And everybody in their division has to be like, yes. like everything, like watching the players and everything, and seeing who you have, and then just being able to look at that Philly defense, knowing y'all don't have the same scheme or you don't have the same players, but seeing how you can scheme it to put him in that kind of pressure on him, how I can blitz him, how I know that if I leave a safety down in that quick dig, or if I or this slant right here, if I can put a guy right here, you know, or drop one of those tackles back in coverage and get him like kind of shook, so make him think it's this, and then bring somebody on us. It's
Yeah.
just much stuff they can work with now from just watching that film from Philly, and even watching their games from last year, showing, because like you said, with the Chargers or the Broncos could have beat them twice. So
Yeah.
looking at your film from last year and seeing like, okay, so instead of doing this, we're gonna do this. Because the plays change, but they don't change a lot. The people are still the same personnel pretty much. And if you can find that little niche to get in their head, oh, you're good.
Yeah, and it's so cool. They always say it's a copycat league, right? And we saw the Eagles win by dominating the trenches and prioritizing the running back. And now you're seeing all these teams throughout the NFL drafting and prioritizing the trenches and adding running backs. And it's so cool to see that coming back, the physicality of, you know, a past era. And that's going to be something the Chiefs are going to have to adjust to, you know, the physicality and teams coming after them. So they need to improve in that area as well. But it's going to be a very fun, you know, just previewing this division has us hyped and ready to watch some football. And then you start talking about the other contenders in the AFC. I can't wait to get this season started. Let's get training camp going because I'm ready right now.
Yeah, you know, man. July 31st, like you said.
Yeah. I'll be watching the Hall of Fame game. I don't even care. Let's go football.
Yeah, I might try to go down there, man. You know, we got our first South Carolina Hall of Famer in there, so I might try to go down there. Sterling Sharp. So that's amazing. Yeah, it's messed up. I think I should have slid in there before him, but you know, it is what it is.
You'll get in there. You'll be in there, Mike.
A couple more games. I might have could have been the first one. I'm like, good Lord, I'll take second. I'll take second.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I can't wait. This is a fun episode. Great job, you know, asking the questions and going at it from that angle. And we're excited to get Amanda back come like August, you know, and when it starts heating up. And we'll keep these episodes coming all season long. But we always appreciate you taking the time, you know, every week coming on. And it's awesome talking football with you.
No question, bro. We'll see you next week. And thank you for keeping me informed on stuff I don't know. My guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Have a great week, and peace out.